Yeah, baby. We're live again. It is Friday, February 28th, 2025. And I'm going to adjust this. Hope you guys are having a great day. Looking like a great weekend. I think we're going to have a good crowd today. Today, I'm going to do a combination of some new product reveal along with a step-by-step for one of the most... There it is. I love it. I got myself set up. Auto confirmation on the audio. Today, it's going to do a step. We're going to do a step-by-step on... how to set up a Fluent community membership site, free or paid, from literally scratch. So you guys can use this as a tutorial, a free step-by-step, but you're also going to see and hear me comment as if we were in a paid consultation. So you're going to kind of get a $300 free value today. But before I do that, let's jump in. What I want to do is a couple things. First of all, I want to share with you some of the updates to one of the tools, which is the Fluent Community Customizer, the Fluent Community Manager. By the way, you guys who are coming in, can you say hello? 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 That way I know you're here. I always see the number count kind of go up and down, but I like to say hi if you are there. And I am 100% you are. Okay, so what I want to show you is, last week I indicated, in addition to the Fluent Community Customizer, which allows us to customize the integration of the Fluent community features along with a theme like Cadence that you're using for WordPress, there are other tools in there that allow you to manipulate the menus and hide and show the feed. I wanted something to scratch my own itch to allow me... Good morning, Lloyd. Good morning indeed. I wanted something that took it a step further, and I wanted to do it in a separate feature because not everybody wants that. And that is, I wanted to use the feeds and the discussion points of my community to put content that I thought was valuable that comes from the WordPress side of things. And that includes using, for example, custom sales funnels, the shop pages, the products. I wanted to be able to highlight, feature, calls to action, things that came from Canva. And I wanted to be able to create an interface for all of the data that I collect, and you, of course, as well, in the community setting to be repurposed. That is to say, to never be lost again, like it was for my other communities that I'd started and have over 10,000 members. My trikepilot.com community, like I shared last week, has over 10,000 people, and that stuff is gone. It's either in Ning or Social Go, or it's lost on my old Buddy Boss site that's been abandoned for a while. Right now, for the last number of years, it's on a Facebook group. Good luck in me getting that out, because even though a SaaS platform may allow you to get the data is useless unless you do something to manipulate it. And in doing the manipulation, you realize how much time and effort is involved and what you have to do to get to it becomes pointless. How about if we do it better? So let me feature this first of all. When I am currently using the Fluent community itself directly, and I want to make a post, here's the steps that you have to do, right? And for those of you coming in for the membership part of things, I can't emphasize enough that having a community in a very limited and specific way, like I'm going to show you, where you have a discussion group or courses, is really part and parcel of having a great membership site, because this is the place where you can turn people loose to interact with each other, reasonably safe. You can set the rules. And most importantly, in 2025, as the world is going through a real birth period of politics and how to act, you can act with the humanity that your community deserves. You can set the rules that everybody should follow the golden rule, as I do, and use their real name and treat each other with, even if you don't agree, with respect and dignity, because the rest of the world is learning the lessons. But for running your own community, you have to do what you want to do, hopefully in a nice way. But the point is, nobody from the SaaS platforms, no oligarch or anything, can shut down your network, which, by the way, is how I got here from 20 years ago. That was happening, and now it's happening again. So having the ownership and control of your own community to complement the membership features, hugely effective. And for those of you who are tinkerers, who want to make a living or a side hustle, using the things that I show you and teach you and give you unlimited use here will allow you to take something you pay 97 bucks for, or you do a 1 hour with me or whatever, and go off and sell that again and again and again and again and again and again and again, because it's the lack of knowledge that people want to pay you for. If I give you that knowledge, as you're seeing here, you can just resell it. It's very much like people who make an incredible amount of money, believe it or not, selling Canva templates on Etsy. All they are is just Canva templates for pages and other things that somebody put together. Notion, same way. Okay. So here's how it works. If you want to add content on the front end as the administrator, it's reasonable, normal, but I can show you better. Okay. So for example, first I have to give it a title, some front end posts. Then I have to say what I want to do, which is fine. This is all perfectly normal. Here are some things about this. One of the things I want you to notice, there's no tiny MCE editor. Let's zoom in a little bit. So tiny MCE editor, like where's that toolbar that we usually have in WordPress that has all those fancy, easy to use things to post in? Good morning, Sharon. It is not 62 here, but it is a lovely day, and I'm hoping we're going to catch some of your warm weather. So I hope you're having a wonderful morning as well. Notice there is no tiny MCE editor. I can't do any of that cool stuff. Now, they do have the ability to post certain things, and as I explored last week, I can take, let's say, this video feature, and I can mess around with it. For example, let's take today's video. If I put a video in here, it somehow allows me to go back to an HTML thing, but I have to first do this weird dance. I don't even know how to explain this. I have to, now I don't even know for sure how to get back there. I have to remove the media. I have to somehow, I don't even know how I did it now. Maybe they removed the feature. There used to be a thing that embedded that you could do in HTML. I don't see that anymore. Maybe they removed it. Point is, pain in the ass. In French, even with these little chats, pain in the ass. But let's just do something. Let's say I put a YouTube video. If I just do it in line, or if I do it in embed, it'll properly do the open auth and then make it a show, right? Okay, so let's see what happens. And I have to say where I want it to go. Okay. Now, let's say I do that. I go, oh, I forgot to do something that I wanted to do. When I go to edit this, it's kind of a pain in the ass because, again, look what I'm able to do. Not much. I can remove this, but I can't like add a second video, a third video. I can't do a second embed. I can't embed stuff from bunny.net or Loom. I mean, it's limited. Okay. What if there's a better way? So two concepts. Fluent Community Manager, which allows you to manage things as the admin or your team, allows you the same power and control to both post, search, edit, aggregate, automate, something bait, and feed it into your AI. Okay, congregate. All right. So let's do this real quick. If I go on the back end, I'm going to go here to my Fluent Community Manager. This plugin will be available today. This is a little scrunchy down. So what I'm going to do, because I'm in a weird view here, I'm going to show you all of the stuff that's here, and then I'm going to go back out. Notice, hey, Chris, long time no see. Always glad to see you, my friend. Notice I've got all of the data for the chat messages. I'm going to zoom back out, I promise, because there's chat messages, chat threads, comments, posts, which are the feeds, the space members, the spaces themselves, and then the topics, which has got the database item of terms. Let's zoom back in on posts. So you understand I have all of the data there, including the things that you would normally get if this was on the WordPress side of things, on the admin side of things. So one benefit of this is let's search for stuff about Spence or Spencer. Here's the chat messages, the posts, anything about Spence. And then if I want, I can go back in and edit it or modify it, or better yet, feed it into my AI. And look what's back. It's the amazing Fluent Community Manager with the Tiny MCE built in, which means that all of the other cool front-end tools that work with Tiny MCE, like, there are still some of those out there, will work as well. But even if you're just using it for the text editor purposes, amazing. Notice that we can choose from an embed source. I'm going to talk about that. Means any page or post, any content we can put in there. Notice, oh, we've got the amazing ability now to choose from the media library all of the content. And those of you who follow me understand that I've got the Media Hub plugin that lets you use a remote WordPress site for all of your WordPress media content. And you can use Firebird and other tools to manage these libraries. So no more having to continually update new stuff. If I was on the front end as the admin, it drives me bonkers that I've already got this entire library of assets that exist in a centralized media hub. Why do I have to keep downloading it and uploading it a jillion times? Even the logos. All right. Then you get the other tools, status, the metadata, and so forth. So essentially what I have provided is this incredible WordPress compatible engine that is aggregating all of the custom post types of Fluent community on the back end so that you can do things like this. I can export to my LLM text file, and you guys cannot see this. So I wonder how I can manage this. Let me see if I can share this. I don't know what I can do with this. Let me see if I can add this to the share. I'm going to reshare something. The downside of StreamYard is it lets me share one thing at a time. It doesn't necessarily let me share two odd things at a time. So here's what I'm looking at. This is the export of the LLM text file. This is all of the data that I specifically want to use if I'm going to train my own private LLM or use a public LLM chat. Obviously, we want to be cautious and we strip out the identifiable information about the individuals, but the data and the things they talk about, invaluable when you have a group of potential customers or actual customers or clients or customers that have been with you talking about your stuff in the private community. As long as you strip out their identifiable information, that is probably the most useful information you're ever going to have. And it would otherwise be pretty well lost because there is no tool in Fluent community that accesses this or allows you to aggregate it. So both searching for things, for outputting things, putting it into what I'm going to show you again, our AI tool to generate new content. Like, hey, here's an automated newsletter that I'm sending out about our community, the best topics and the best quotes from the best people, whatever you want to say. You can feed the data automatically into the AI support tool that I built that will be subsequently released. That needs a little more feature set to it so that you can automatically generate in Fluent CRM emails that go out for your newsletter and continually to improve because it's got data about who's doing what, when, where, why, and how. All of that is in your network. Why should it be lost? Let's do something even cooler. Let's use this as our publishing tool because to be completely transparent, as the publisher, as the owner of this site, I and my AI on the back end should be able to publish much more efficiently than using that other tool on the front end. So again, these are complements, not competitive. These are complementary to Fluent CRM, to Fluent Community, to Fluent Forms. These use all of the tools in a way that they should be. And as far as I'm concerned, as an editor, I want to publish like this. Let's add a new post. I'm going to show you some magic tricks that you didn't even think were possible. First of all, who is publishing? Because I'm the administrator, I get to choose. So I could scroll through anybody who is in my site. I'm going to choose me, but I could choose somebody else if I want to help them publish something. If there is a parent that this is associated because it's a thread, I can put the ID of that parent, but I'm just going to say 0. Let's make a title. Spence Talks Social Networking. Okay. My title is going to be the thing that is in the header of the feed entry. The slug is whatever I want to make it, or it'll make it automatically. Spence Talks Social. You can control that, which is nice. I haven't tested it, but as I'm saying that and I'm thinking, I'm wondering, I might actually be able to see whether or not, if not, I'll make it happen, that'll actually take UTM variables as well. So that when somebody actually clicks on it universally, it would share the UTM values so that we can get some like A/B testing concepts going. Not sure about that, but I'll look into it. Okay. Here's the fun. The message itself is what would go above the automated embed. So if I wanted to, I can have an automated embed and put stuff above it using, again, the power of the WYSIWYG editor here, right? So this is easy with the tiny MCE editor. If I just do this, I can obviously use any of these tools. And I mean, it's old school, right? I've shown this last time. Or we do nothing at all. Why? Because there's a better way. The embed source, after last week, I've decided to make this fully compatible by it essentially generates, and I cannot vouch yet for other page builders because I don't care about them. I'm just vouching for cadence and cadence blocks because as far as I'm concerned, that's what you should be using. But I've been told the Beaver Builder, Elementor, the other ones are also working with this. Doesn't matter to me. I can create any content and embed it. I can use, for example, the cadence elements, which are like template pieces, or I can use posts or in this case, page. I can use products. I can even use the shop page. I can automatically put it in place and make it appear properly. Okay, let's do something. If I do the page with the software bundle in it, I've already got this page. I've already got an element. The embed code you may have seen is smart enough to generate automatically and change when you change. Watch this. It changes when you switch the source. So let's remove this. You can see what I mean. If I go shop page, let's just do shop. Okay. It will automatically reload the data that I need. Let's do software bundle page. Okay. If I click save or refresh the page, it will obey my commands. Let's go back in here for a second. When I'm doing the video, I realized that I lost control of my mouse because the overlay. Sorry about that. I needed to reboot the screen. So in any event, this will switch and we'll add the proper embed. Now, what I've decided to do here for the tech crowd is that if you decide you want to override this, I've also put in a no embed option. You just choose no embed. And obviously then you can either manually modify this, as I'll show you in a minute, like using Canva, or you can delete it and you're good to go. In this case, I want to use the software bundle page as an embed. Now I'm going to say what kind of type of post it is. It's a text or a video. The video puts into it a nice responsive frame that keeps that 16:9 ratio, which good to have. Content type, we just say text again. Space ID, I can say where I want to post this. So I'll put this in my main feed, which is the discussion for Minute Launch. Privacy, I'll set to public, status published. Featured image, here's that magic again. This is everything. Being able to use what I've already got. Let's use this screenshot as my featured image. I don't need to upload it after downloading it again. Now I have choices, sticky. I can also do created at, updated at, and I can just click the date and time or click now. Watch the magic. When I click this now properly and automatically formats everything and puts it on the front end. Let's go to my community portal and take a look at the publishing. So what I've got is now a gorgeous, properly formatted post in my feed of choice, which, by the way, I want to remind you, this is the concept. Follow the breadcrumbs. If I have the AI support tool and it has all of the data about what people are doing and saying and talking, and it can help me create new content, guess what it'll also be able to do? Automatically publish stuff as if it was in the voice of Spence or you or your client. So it will have the editorial discretion to think and act and talk like you, to do the mundane tasks that really don't confuse your personal support from what is you personally as a voice. See the difference? Like you and me in a real conversation, I don't want to lie to you and pretend that my bot is me. But my bot, my replication, my voice, my attitude of doing things like publishing posts based upon the best stuff in the content community or the community content, that's easy. We have the very graceful modal overlay that comes from Fluent that allows us to scroll and see the content, and then people can comment on it normally. It's a comment, which would then get regurgitated back onto the back end. Okay, so let's take a look now. We go back over here, refresh the page. We can see, hopefully, here's the comment and who it was from. Now, this has the user ID in it. if we were to go over and look at another comment, we'll see that the user ID is associated to the user profile, which makes it super easy. I noticed in this one, interesting, in this one, I don't have the link. In the other ones, I have the link. I'm going to check my work because in a previous version of this, I actually had it where you could just click and link. I'll restore that to the user profile or to the contact profile of that person, making it easier to thread out what they've done. I think we can actually probably pull that off here too. My condolences to everybody who I'm outing here a little bit, but I'll out myself. If I go over here to space members, I can see my admin profile and all the rest of the stuff. So you can get yourself around with the users, the contacts, with the posts, with the comments, with the chat threads, all of the stuff. And because I can make the content, let's do awesome stuff. Let's go over here to appearance elements and make new content in ways that will mind blow. When I'm using my page builder, I can make sales material. I can feature products. I can do dynamic stuff like showing a LearnDash course in its own container. Yes, it's true. I can actually do it. And I can do it a variety of ways. So I'm going to do this live without a net. First of all, let's just make something from scratch that's like more of a staticky thing. And then let's take it to the next level, right? If I was to make a staticky thing, I could either make a page or an element. It doesn't make a difference. Let's just do this. We'll just do it as a whole doodad. Let's embed. And here, I'm just going to choose something from the design library because there's so many amazing stuff. Maybe I wanted to show a pricing table or, it'd be awesome. One of these accordions that is like a bunch of toggled how-to. Okay. Watch how fast this is. Spence's how-to. First thing I want to do is I want to publish it. Now, this is an element, so I can set a bunch of parameters, including I could say when and how and where this should be visible. I am going to use this with a different method, but I still want to set the visibility because I believe it applies. So placement is none because I'm not manually placing it, but I do want to say show it on the entire site. Otherwise, it will, I believe, honor where it's at. And then you can do hide as well. And then I want to also say who can see this. And I'm going to set that to all users. Okay. Once I've done that, all I need to do is know the name of the page. So let's do from let's embed. Let's go back over here. I've got nothing on the front. Let's go on the back end and let's do a Fluent Community Manager post. So I go here. We're going to say add new. And before I do much of anything else, let's just choose what I'm going to use, right? So let's embed. I click it. Magic ensues. It's going to be from Spence. Parent to 0. Here's how to do stuff. The slug can be whatever I want, or again, how to do stuff. I'm not going to put a message above. Don't need it. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to say this is a text and it's text space ID minute launch. Same idea that I just did. Public, published. Featured image. Awesome. I can choose something randomly. Let's use my dude here. Overwhelmed. Okay. And these other ones are just 0. And then we want to say when it's scheduled or published at or created at, because otherwise it just doesn't know what to do. So we're going to do that. It is not expired. We're going to publish. Easy peasy. And this is accessible now to the automations or the other tools that would be typically what you'd use for publishing in WordPress. So you can imagine that you can do RSS feeds out, you can do feeds in. Now, what do we get? Instant, immediate perfection. Notice that because the way I ended up doing this, and I'm not so smart, I just had to try hard. I had to figure out whether I should take the actual embed code itself or to use an iframe that's been sort of specially modified to work as it should. So I went with the iframe route, but because it's on the same site, I have none of the problems. The benefit of this is look at what you're getting now in your community. You can sell anything, do anything. You get the style. You can make stuff for clients that they want, like I'm going to do in a second. What if we wanted to put something in there like a LearnDash lesson? What if we want to do that? What if we wanted to put a product in there? Let's see what happens. Let's stick around a little bit. I'm going to leave the post alone. And first I'm going to say, but first, let's show a product. Now, I can use a lot of different tools here, but one of the tools I can use is I can use a specific product layout or a featured product. Here, let's use the selector. WooCommerce has a few little tchotchkes I could use. Let's do featured product. Now, I don't know what product this is going to be. Let's pick something. Let's pick something. Let's do Rocket Hosting, fastest hosting. Okay. I'm just using their component. So I don't know what it's going to spit out, but this is the WooCommerce product component, which I'm using because this allows us to set something up that you really couldn't do otherwise. All right. Let's save it. I haven't modified the text. I could, of course, if I click on this, I believe that the component allows me, yes, it allows me to, for example, let's fit the image, and that is not right. Doing an image fit, and let's just do the overlay color for the text a little bit. So I think this will make it the right color. I'm not used to using this one particular element, so I'm not sure what, if any, controls it has, which doesn't concern me, but that's why I don't look like I know what I'm doing for changing the color. I'm just going to leave the color alone for a second because that's not my point. Let's go ahead and see, just by updating that, what we get. If I refresh the page, it should update the content without me having to republish it. And it does. Now, a couple things. I broke the element, so I have to actually unbreak it. So let's unbreak it here. For me, the takeaway that's important is I am able to put something inside of a space where I want it to be seen, and I don't have to monkey around. Oh, here's how maybe we can pull it off. I don't have to monkey around with trying to recreate it from scratch. I could just use the tools that I've already got on the WordPress side of things for publishing. And if, let's say, that has dynamic content, let's say I put a timer in here or conditional display. Now I can have a conditionally displayed billboard with the content from my WordPress side of things that shows up in my feed. A couple things that I see happening, which is weird. So I'm going to use a different example here. This one thing is it's just a weird block. Let's just use a different version of the product. By the way, for those of you who use WooCommerce product shortcode, there are shortcodes that allow you to literally just put the product you want in there by like product ID. So let's grab one of those. And I love my shortcodes because they're so easy. So let's do a singular product. You can even do it by tag, which is awesome too. I think I scrolled right by it. Here we go. So I think we just do products. Well, I'll tell you what, let's start with this. I know that I think we just put in product ID equals. I'm looking for the attribute here. Hold on. Spence is he's in the zone. Maybe it's the shortcode of product. I'll just try it. Let's just see what happens. So I'm going to put in shortcode. I'm going to put this in products limit 4. I don't have like popularity, quick sale, on sale, true. Let's see what happens. This should give me an array of 4 of the ordered products that are relevant. Let's make sure it's fully saved. Now, a question for me is that might not work in the space because maybe that's only supposed to work on the shop page. So let's do product ID equals. Let's just pick a product from the shop. And those of you who are hanging with me, I appreciate it. I like to explore because this is how I learn. right? So I just released this and I want to see what works, what doesn't. So for this one, I'm just going to grab the product ID here, which is, I'm just going to go to the product. I'll get the ID from the product. Let's do it this way. The product ID is always in the URL. So it's 233409. Let's see if we get it. 233409. And let's get rid of that stuff. I think this is the shortcode that will work. If not, I'll go with plan B. And there we go. Okay. So always happy when it works out. Notice I'm able to actually put just as simple as that in my element, in my toggled layout, like a full, hey, here's a bunch of products. And if somebody wants to add it, this is the best part. It actually works. Now I can adjust whether that takes them to the checkout directly or whether it takes them outside. I would probably want to put in there on the link information. I would say toggle self so that it goes out back to the main page and it doesn't stay inside of the iframe. But nevertheless, it does work. Let's do something else. If we go over here, let's delete what I just published because I want to show you what I think is going to be magic. And then I'm going to move on to the membership stuff because we're at the halfway of the hour. If we go here, here's how to do stuff. Like I said, let's get rid of this embed source and say no embed. And we're going to take out this. That means nothing will be here. And just so you can believe it, now there is nothing. I could just go back to just using the text editor, which is awesome. If I say save, really easy, right? So like later on, if I have a sale going, Black Friday, I have something that was like the weekly webinar, I just go back to changing it. You saw I couldn't do that on the other side of things. I'd have to make a new feed post. So if we go over here, what about what Spence was talking about, that amazing tool called Canva? Or I've got something from outside my site that I want to do. Or, oh, I would like to embed a PDF. Stuff like that. Crazy, weird, normal stuff like that. Well, let's do this. Let's say I've got some resource, like here's an image or here's a slideshow or here's whatever it is, and I would like to share that. I've already got it existing like in Canva, right? I can either embed that normally or I can use the tools to embed it with Canva, right? So I could put a full presentation in there. I could download it manually. I could copy it as a link. Let's actually go one step further. The thing that I'm going to do with this is I think it's not happy because I got to make this window bigger. Canva's design needs it to be bigger. There it is. I need that button. Okay. I think I have to make a design with this because this is just an image. If I click on the one thing, let me see if it gives me different choices. Present. No, I want to do the embed, not download. It's interesting. I think because this is not a design, this is just an element. Let's do a new design just so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. Create a design, and I'll just use I'll do 500 by let's do 640 by 640. And then here I'll just put in the element. And actually what I want to do is I want to grab that thing that we were just looking at because I like that. So my apologies. I know that sometimes I feel like I'm distracted, but I'm also learning here. So what I'm going to do is I want to just copy this. I want to use this in a design. I wonder, what I'm wondering is because Anne had shared this with me, maybe that's what's going on. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cheat on this, and I'm just gonna literally copy the image. Sorry about this. I've never worked when somebody had shared something with me. Apparently, I need to save it into my Canva or whatever, but that's okay. I'm just gonna use those. And I'm gonna paste here. Okay, so like let's say I put this in here. And the whole point of this was to do the following. Let's say I create a cool design. It's a sales page, it's a promotional thing, it's just an image and I own it. I want to get the embed link. That's basically what I'm talking about, right? So I go over here, I click on embed. It gives me the copy. I go back over to the Fluent community where I now have a blank thing. Now there's nothing. I preferably go in text editor mode and I paste it. And let's do at the bottom of every Canva thing is this link that says, made by Spence on Canva. Let's just get rid of that. Okay. When I refresh the page, ta-da, should be ta-da. Now I've got this beautiful stuff from Canva. And as you guys already know, I can put dynamic stuff in because it's a safe iframe embed. I could put in a slideshow. I could put a video presentation. I can put in a whole website. I can put in a sales page that has a link to the product. So I think I've beaten this horse to death. The Fluent Community Manager is available today, shortly after I'm done here. For those of you who are thinking of running a community and want to utilize it, you will give me the ideas and we'll do this meta share where hopefully you guys can participate back into the community and give me your experiences. Dr. Krieger has participated today and started doing some stuff. I encourage the rest of you guys to just come on in here and play around. This is a laboratory. Introduce yourself if you want, promote yourself if you want, use your real name for sure. But this is what we're going to do. All right. Now let's talk about how to grow a community from scratch. I do not need a lot of time because I can show you how fast it can be. First things first, the community itself, instead of using all the sign-up tools, we're going to use the actual integration with the Fluent CRM and with the WooCommerce My Account dashboard. So I've done that before, but I want to do it really, really fast here on a brand new site. This is literally nothing has happened. And I'm going to just talk. You guys ask questions if you want. I'm going to set this up and show you and do what I would do if we were in a private consultation. Okay. So this is literally Sharon, for you, because you have the software bundle, the Fluent Community Manager is included. That's the whole point. It is not part of the Fluent Community Customizer because, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, from a sales perspective, I want everybody to get the software bundle. That's $47. Some people want to keep buying stuff a la carte. God bless you. You're going to pay for each thing individually. Because I don't want to support individual plugins. I think I want you to buy the software bundle. Nevertheless, there's another reason too, which is I feel like they do different things. I mean, you're going to want both, but they do very different things. Everybody needs the customizer. Maybe you want to get deeper into your community details with a manager. Up to you. Okay. But buy the software bundle, you get no problems. I think the value proposition is fair because I want everybody to basically come to IKEA with your membership card and just always enjoy everything at IKEA. So let's start with what I would do. First things first, when you get a site, the first plugin you want is Launch Kit. That's the only plugin you need to manually install currently. And that's because now we are free from the wrath of Matt Mullenweg's bullying and all the rest of his nonsense. I don't care what they do in the repository. Just go to the top of WP Launchify, click on Software Bundle, and then you click for the free download of the Minute Launch Pro. Okay, that's the Launch Kit Pro. You do not need to go to the repository for it or deal with any of those ridiculous policies of playing cat and mouse. Then, when you've installed it and activated it, we want to go ahead and set it up that you're going to at least initially go to the Pro features and you're going to put in, not my test account here, you're going to put in your WP Launchify username, which is your email, and password. That's it. And when you do that, you'll be able to log in and install the software and get the features. So use the same thing you use for your membership at WP Launchify on all of your stuff. Yes, Matt's policies. Matt is getting what he rightfully has created. That's the best way to say it. I want to, number one, install Cadence theme. As I've said, there's no reason to use Element or Beaver Builder, these other things. Cadence blocks, you're done. Everything else is unified. You're at IKEA. You're welcome to shout anytime you want. I shouted yesterday during the WP Tonic show. I don't shout anymore. I don't get upset about it. But he was tweeting to me personally, playing the victim. Oh, why everybody's so happy when I'm miserable. I'm like, well, maybe stop being so destructive to yourself and everybody, and the rest of us can get back to what we were doing, which was supposedly like acting with the golden rule towards each other. Okay, next, I install all of the software. Now, before I do that, I will check. I know that I have it. Click and check for an update of the latest package that has all the plugins in it. This interface is my weekend project. So this interface is going to get updated, and it's going to be awesome and more logical. But I just want you to understand that right now you just get the latest package. And then what I do is I check this box and I install all of the plugins, and it goes really fast. Watch this. I love making the noise. It just installs like 100 plugins as quickly as that. I'm done. I'm not going to use all of it, but that just like stocked my pantry with everything that I need. Okay. Ignore generate blocks here. You are very keen eye, Sharon. Very keen eye. Ignore generate blocks. I have generate blocks here on WPLaunchify.com. Well, on the other page, not here, but you caught that on the other screen. I do not use that now that I use Cadence. That's just there left over, and I'm too lazy to go around and pull it out of a couple pages. Do not need generate blocks. Thank you. You were very fast. You get an award for the fastest eyeball there. You caught that. Okay. Now I've got them all installed, and I've got my theme. Next, let's set up what I need by turning on only the things that I need. But to start, let's go to the front end of LaunchKit again, and let's enable the features we want from LaunchKit to make it a user experience that's wonderful and inviting and welcoming and not crazy town like it is with the regular plugins installer. I'm going to turn off the white label feature, and I'm going to click Save Changes. These options essentially prevent the website from making you pull your hair out. I also turn on hide notices at the top. And now I have my site back. I have full control. None of the plugins can run away. They can't do these things where they try to tell me what I need to do and sell me stuff and activation wizards and preventing you from adding and removing because they don't think you should. Ridiculous. We're back to normal. I'm going to leave this notices hidden feature so it shows the stuff so you can kind of see what's going on though. When we go to the plugin side, this is where I'm going to choose. Yes, fine. I will activate the AI powered website. Okay. I'm not going to use AI, by the way. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to install a few things. We can turn all of these on, but we really don't need them. Let's just go ahead and turn on the basic stuff. We're going to definitely want to, let's talk about Cadence. So if I do Cadence, we can highlight those. Cadence blocks Pro, Cadence blocks regular. We do not need Cadence conversions or fonts or focus. We want the Pro theme. We do not need ShopKit. I think we already got the AI powered starter templates, and that's under the word AI or starter. Hold on. There it is, starter templates. We definitely want that. That's already activated. So let's just activate those first with the bulk activator. Then we're going to activate WooCommerce and launch flows. So let's do, first of all, WooCommerce. And there's not a lot to do here, but we're going to do, for example, we would activate WooCommerce Checkout Manager. We want to do probably maybe smart coupons, Stripe Gateway, and subscriptions, custom price string. The bundling and the other esoteric stuff, I'm going to say no for now. So I'm activating those. It seemed like it went really fast. Hold on. Okay, this is a good example, by the way, of how one of the plugins is unhappy because it needs something to be installed first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually activate WooCommerce because the other plugins are sort of like, hey, man, I can't do that. I need WooCommerce. Okay, but what I will also do is notice I can still quickly just update this. This needs an update from me today, which will happen with LaunchKit typically every day, sometimes more on Friday. And then I'll just do these other ones just real quick. So Checkout Manager, smart coupons, Stripe gateway, subscriptions, and string. Okay, notice all the spam on the bridge because I don't have the hide notices on. So the kids got their spray cans out and it's go to town. Like just endless amounts of notices of every single thing, which by the way, most of them are not useful at all, which is why I'm showing you I can just ignore them entirely. I'm going to show you about the starter templates. There's a trick with the starter templates. I love the Cadence folks and Ben. Their licensing is insane at the moment because there's five spots that you normally have to use a license. You don't have to use a license at all with me because you've got my unlimited license. We remove the need to go to 5 spots. Ben, please fix this. Okay. Let's install the software and then I'll show you the rest of what I do. Next, I'm going to install the Fluent stuff. Well, let's do launch flows first. Launch flows for the sales funnels. I'm not going to do the customer dashboards, but I will do the product image options because that keeps those things from scrolling and zooming when you're on a static image. And then let's do the Fluent stuff. Now I'm going to also want WP Fusion. And that's it. Like I have a recipe for this, which we can use in LaunchKit to just activate the core stuff. You know, it's a list of what's going to be turned on. So you don't have to do this manual every time. I'm going to do Fluent Forms. I'm going to do Fluent Forms Pro. I'm going to do Fluent Snippets in case I have a little tchotchke that I want to add. No, I like the questions. Keep throwing them at. This is why we're here. This is intended to do exactly what you're doing. So please continue. Fluent Snippets. I'm not going to do Fluent Support. That's an option for some people, but that's not what I need. I need Fluent CRM and Fluent Community Customizer as well. So let's do Fluent CRM Pro. And I'm not going to belabor the community part. So you just understand that you can do more with the customizer and with the manager, but I'm just going to do the basic community and pro stuff. Okay. Fluent SMTP. Basically, you can turn on all of the Fluent stuff if you want. None of it's going to break, but you just might not be using all of it. And so same thing like Fluent Booking. We can do that as part of your membership, but we don't need to at this point. All right. So I'm just going to see if a checkbox will work with this. And then we're going to rock and roll. Last one will be WP Fusion. And the reason we use WP Fusion, many people ask, is that it's got some specialty capabilities that are outside of the scope of what Fluent can do. So what I say is if you're using Fluent instead of an outside CRM, think of it like an outside CRM and only use Fluent for the features and the capabilities that you would use if it was an outside CRM. So all the connectivity stuff do with WP Fusion. You'll see in a second. All right, now this is where I hide my notices. I'm going to check. I don't know if did I miss activating it? Let's see. If I missed it, let's double check. It's active. It skipped when the screen sharing happens. Okay. Next, when we are doing a membership community, we're going to need content. We might do, by the way, LearnDash. I just want you to understand we could do LearnDash, which I typically would do, and then that can be sold. So I'm just going to put the basics in here of a LearnDash. I'm not going to get into great detail with the courses, but let's just put the basics in there because I want you to understand what we can do. I also have a plugin, Cadence Focus, that lets you do the same thing with Cadence as we just did with the Fluent community. That is, you can have a course in focus mode that shares your theme. Okay. Now I'm going to give the theme some basic look and feel. Before I do that, there's one other plugin that I'm going to use. It's Admin Menu Editor. This allows me as a 58-year-old kid to see things in alphabetical order. I don't know why, but I can't see stuff if it's just all over the board. I spent all this time. So that I always myself go to settings, and then I just use this cool little tool, A to Z, bloop. I move the dashboard to the top with a spacer. And then what I'll do is I'll sometimes put like Launch Kit or the Fluent stuff, launch flows. I'll put that at the top. So you can do it whatever way you want. That way it makes it like personal to what my preferences are. It's a great plugin. And thank you, Sharon. You're a sweetheart. Okay, now I've got it in alphabetical order the way I want. I'm going to go into appearance, customize. First thing is I can do a starter template. Let me give you my 2 cents about the starter templates. Don't do the starter templates first. Do the starter templates later, and don't ever do the AI starter templates. The AI starter templates are horrific. They're so stupid because you can do much better faster just by choosing with your own eye or typing in. I think it's like this gimmick of everybody wants to have this AI. It is not faster or better in every case. Okay. What I need to do is a logo. So let's start with the header. Okay. When the header pops up, I use the traditional, not the full site editor, and I put in a logo image. Now, for this is where I go to Canva and I do stuff, right? So I can choose a logo from Pexels or some nonsense like that, but I just go to Canva for myself or a client. Why would I make it harder than that? You have a client, they know nothing. They don't even need to know about Canva. I just type in the word logo. And then the client tells me some cool stuff, and I make a logo as quickly as this, right? Lab Secret Social. I can change the color, I can change the font, I can do whatever I want. But what I really do is I just click share and I download it as a transparent PNG. So I first of all say transparent background, then I limit the file size to, let's say, 50 kilobits. So it's really tiny. I'm done. I don't need to optimize. Now I can just literally upload that image. And in this case, I'm going to put it local, but I would probably upload it in the future. I would just upload it to my hub. Select. In this case, I will crop it, but if I was using it, for example, like is the image icon, I'll keep it as a square. And now I've got, as quickly as that, the basics of what the site should be. I can change that to be a little smaller. Okay. I can also knock out, while I'm here, the site icon. So for this, I'm just going to cheat. I'm just going to use that. I could do something more clever, but why bother? I mean, it's there. So now I've got both done. I'm done. I've got a branded site ready to go. Next is I need to actually have a sales mechanism and a thank you page. So with WooCommerce, I'm going to set this up really quickly using their incredibly easy OAuth connection. So before I do more, I go to WooCommerce settings and I can choose my payment gateway as Stripe. So I go to payments. You could do cash on delivery and other stuff, but I just drag this to the top, save it so the position is known. Then I'm going to go into finish setup and I'm going to connect it to either my live Stripe account, or it allows me, thank goodness, to now create an instant test account. So I click on test account for now. Once, skip the form, it sends me back to WordPress ready to have something that I can test checkout with as if it was real. And then later I can finish it for a client with their real credentials. This is awesome for you as a freelancer. I'm making sure I'm in test mode and I can change whatever else I want to say, like, you know, what the bank statement should say and all these things you can adjust. Payment methods, I turn off link and Apple. You do not ever want those. Never, 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 never. Why? Because they make their customers give the credit cards to them. You want the customer to give the credit card to you so that you can have it ready for one-click checkout. Using those services does not make it faster for them, as you'll see. It just makes it easier for you to lose out on opportunity. I just type in here, credit or debit card, or whatever you want to say at checkout. Yes, I think you're referring to the instant Stripe connectivity. I think somebody got the word. Maybe it was from my whining about it, but they finally made it easy enough that you can actually set up your client site ready to go. Okay. Similarly, for the Fluent SMTP, we need to be able to deliver messages. So let's just really quickly go into settings, Fluent SMTP, and I'm going to show you a trick. I have previously been recommending SendGrid. I no longer am recommending them, not because they're not awesome, but because they've lost their minds at Twilio, and the two-factor authentication has taken up too many years of my life. Every single thing I do there is two-factor. So instead, I'm recommending either Brevo. I mean, if you have SendGrid, keep using it. I still use it. Brevo or SMTP to go. Fabulous. Simple. 2 minutes to set up. No two-factor authentication to drive you out of your mind. And they work amazingly well. Okay. Either way, for now, just to get this delivered to a client, just pass on this and go to other SMTP. You can either use your Gmail account, or you can just do what I do and say none at all for right now, because I don't need to send this live. I'm just going to send, let's see, testing at wplaunchify.com. Put in the name, and I'm just going to use the local email trap. Okay, so, and I'm going to say here, Spence Social Network, or Lab Secrets Social, and I can force the name. By using the trap, I don't have to set up a real SMTP until my client or I am ready to do so. So I'm saving like effort here. I'm just saving this information here for now, but I'm not actually going to connect to anything. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to turn on, hold on one second. One of the things it wants me to do, which I understand and respect, let's put in a fake, we have to put in a fake SMTP. So just do smtp.gmail.com, and we'll pretend that it's SSL 465. It's not going to authenticate, but at least we'll be able to just test the whole thing, right? So we'll do testing at Lab Secrets Social. The reason that I don't need to bother with this is that when you use one of those other services, all you do is you just grab a key and you pop it in place and save it, and it works. So this is just to get me to here, where I'm going to use the email simulation. And in doing so, now everything works normal, except it's going to catch it inside of our email logs. Super easy. So now I'm mechanically connected to the world. Now let's make a couple things that we need in order to satisfy WooCommerce. We want a thank you page so that when we sell, we can have something to send somebody to. So we go to Pages, Add New. We're simply going to use the thank you pattern that's available at patterns.launchflows, or you can just make your own like I'm showing you. I type in thank you, and I'll grab that very well-known now dude that you can change his image. Just go in there, make sure it's what you want, and then click the button inside. Copy pattern code. And so here I'm just going to make a new page. Because I'm using the same stuff, it's going to look perfect. Thank you. I'm going to paste in the dude, and I'll change the dude to whatever my media library stuff is, right? Maybe I'll just put in the Lab Secrets thing. So easy to brand. Now I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Typically I'll remove those publish checks too. And one of the things that I found sometimes needs to happen is, just for the sake of first saving, remove the short code for a second, let it save once. And for some reason, this one is a little quirky. And then you say short to script equals no. That way it's not going to show the short description on the thank you, which is good, because we're going to put like a link into every product that lets us essentially tell people where to go. Okay, so now that I have a thank you page, I can finish setting up WooCommerce. For WooCommerce, I just basically want to say, where's that thank you page located? So I can do that in Launch Flows or in WooCommerce. Let's go to Launch Flows. And in Launch Flows, there's just a few settings. First thing is, at the bottom, click this little icon, and I can set the thank you page for all defaults of WooCommerce to thank you, and save that. While I'm on WooCommerce, if I go to the products area, I turn off Ajax, because we want somebody to be sent immediately to the checkout. I don't have product reviews. I'll turn those off too. We don't want somebody sitting on the page when somebody adds this thing. We want to go to the checkout page. Okay. You can also turn off, let me close this a little smaller. We can also turn off some of the other stuff like in advanced. For example, I don't like to show a terms and conditions checkbox. If you need that where you live, choose this, and then you'll have a mandatory checkbox at checkout. If we go over to accounts and privacy, I want to make sure, but I don't need to show certain things. So what we do is we turn off 100% guest checkout. You never want to have a guest checkout. Why? Because if somebody checks out as a guest, you don't get them in your CRM and you don't know who they are and what they're doing. And it does not change their behavior or their experience at all to have you achieve that. In fact, it's worse for them because then they get lost and they don't know how to get back. So always disable guest checkout. Always enable login during checkout. Allow them to create an account during checkout, never on the My Account page. This means the only way to get in here is through one of the other methods, like a form or the community, or through buying a product. Allow the send password link setup, because that way, once they're in immediately, they'll be in, but they can also just go back and quickly click and set their new password. I turn off the privacy policy on checkout. I don't need extra words at checkout. Now let's fix the checkout page, which already exists. So I'm just literally going to go to the /checkout, and I'm going to modify it for launch flows because I've got this incredible capability. You do not need to do this, but if you don't do this, you're going to have weird shit like this happen. You're going to have this like checkout isn't available and you don't have this thing because for some reason they think that you shouldn't be able to see stuff to check out without a product in it. And I disagree. This is the perfect opportunity for you to have conditional display of upsells, downsells, do other things. So what I do on the checkout page is I literally delete the checkout default block. I go to page and I put the checkbox, add a checkout to the post, and I'm done. Now, I can also further customize it very easily just by going in and using the launch flows pattern that's included. So I go to patterns, launch flows, and we can do a 1 column or 2 column checkout. Let's just do the 2 column. Okay. Now I've got the components organized the way I want them. And I add another one after this called save Stripe checkout. That way it'll save their credit card. Now you can reformulate these. Like, for example, you can move the login to the top and the additional information, but like this by itself gives me a perfect, awesome layout that's got almost every business in mind, looks and feels lovely. One of the things I like to do on this page is get rid of the header. I don't think I need it. So I go into cadence, disable, and then I use the box layout. You can probably get away with a narrow layout here if you want. It'll save space, but like just do box layout. And I think that looks really nice. Fits the screen, gives you all the things you need, not what you don't. Okay. We can use the checkout manager to remove the extra fields that we don't need at checkout. Let's do that real quick. So we go to WooCommerce checkout and we just say under billing fields, only show first name, last name, email. So we click on billing. And here we've got all the potential fields. Country, region. I don't think so. So let's turn off everything except for first name, last name, email. And let's put the email at the top. So it's the first thing somebody gives us. Because if they give that to us, everything else can be saved using the WP Fusion abandoned cart. So email, first and last name, everything else disabled. This makes a much more wonderful experience for products that do not require shipping at the checkout. Here we go. Less information, less confusion, happier customers. We could even put this into 1 column format and make it super teeny tiny. With launch flows, I would also enable some of these other options. So, for example, redirect to checkout for all products, maybe not. Disable backlinks to products. Hide the view cart notices when you add stuff. Enable the product thumbnails and the removal link, the product quantity in that checkout. Remove the slug is a big option, which is awesome. If you don't want your site to say yoursite.com/product/whatever, you can just remove the permalink of products with this option. And it'll just be the name of the product. Really compact. I like to make people use their email for username, and I like to also first and last name. I want to hide all the free orders for things like registration from myself as the admin, unless I want to filter them out, or from the user so they don't get a bunch of receipts for orders that were just registration orders. Now I'm done with the main setup. Now we need something to deliver. First things first is we need to set a Fluent CRM to give people a list and a tag. Really easy. Fluent CRM settings. You set up your business name. I'm not going to do all of this. Okay. let's go, lab secrets, community membership. Okay, you can do that logo, by the way. Still annoyed having to upload, but this at least lets me go for what I've got, which is awesome. It'd be kind of cool if it just knew. And then we want one list. Now, this is a question that comes up often. If you have 2 or 3 different groups of people that never will mix, then make extra lists. But otherwise, most lists are good to hold all of your contacts, and then we're going to use tags to segment. So one list, I call it main list. Let's make a couple tags. I'm just going to say sample tag. For tagging, use this syntax in the taxonomy mindset. Action, subject of the action. Purchased, product 1. Subscribed, subscription 2. Joined, membership this. Submitted, form whatever. That way, whoever reads it will not be confused, right? So, subscribed, community. That is a receipt tag. Let's do what's called an access tag. Can access, community. The first tag is like at Costco when you buy a membership, they give you a piece of paper with a receipt, and they when you return it, they run their magic marker over it. The second one is the thing you actually show to get in. That's your have it until you stop paying for it tag. Okay, and then that's the end of that. Now we've got Fluent CRM. We're going to go set up a couple things, which is essentially to let it know how to behave when it comes to users and with WP Fusion. So we go back to settings, and we just have to do like 2 things real quick. Number 1, general settings. Let's go ahead and enable the sync between user data and CRM data. That will keep those 2 happily connected. We're not going to delete people from the contacts if we delete them as users. That's not logical. We want to be able to keep automating or otherwise contacting them independently. If they register somewhere else in WordPress, we're going to assign them into the made list. If you want to have double opt-in, you can. And WooCommerce, automatically fill WooCommerce with the current contact value data versus the last cookied user data. That could be useful. I'm not going to enable a checkbox on WooCommerce for choosing mailing lists, but that is an option for those of you who want that kind of thing. Okay, almost done. We need to do a couple other quick things. Let's go to WP Fusion. Under settings, WP Fusion, we're going to connect now to Fluent CRM. Simple as typing Fluent CRM, this site, connect, done, baby. Sharon, I have not forgotten your question. Spence, how do I connect to the AI starter templates? It doesn't seem to work. Okay, I'm going to get there. But before we do, let's just choose the main list for default and the assign so that WP Fusion knows where to connect when it adds somebody. And notice this will create a new contact in Fluent CRM if somebody comes in through another way of WordPress. Okay, next. There's one thing, by the way, on Fluent I didn't do, and that's the integration with WooCommerce directly, which will be useful because it'll show in the dashboard. So if you go over here, there's integration settings. You can integrate with LearnDash or WooCommerce directly. It's redundant, but it really actually is nice because it'll show the WooCommerce orders, and you can sync the order and the customers now if you had, let's say, a legacy site that you installed this to after the fact. Okay, so that's a nice feature. Next, we're going to go back to what I was talking about with Sharon, which is we go to Launch Kit. And in there, we're going to go into features. You have to be logged in with the Pro login. Go to License. This will get a better interface this weekend. And here are the keys for this outside third-party stuff. Just go Cadence Pro License key. Just click Use Default, Use Default, Use Default, Use Default. Why? Those are my own functions that will take what is otherwise required to get to the third-party stuff and make sure that it's functional. Now that you do that, the Cadence stuff works properly. They're still a little crazy when it comes to like, where do you find the starter templates? So if you go to Cadence, you will now see starter templates, but this is not going to work normal. It's going to try to foist a choice on you. So either choose AI or choose classic. I think you get what you deserve if you do AI. I would not do that. I would use classic. And now I'm back to where I said to you, guess what you can do? You can now make this look and feel for your client any way you want to. Just have them choose something that they think is awesome. Have them browse around the starter templates over at startertemplates.cadence. It's cadence.com/cadence starter templates. They can browse all of these here and then say, I would like to use this one or that one. Let's pick one. Let's use the podcast premium. I can choose one or more of the styles. I can choose the colors, all this sort of stuff, right? I can go back to the original. When I choose that in the fonts, then I can say, do I want to do the whole site? Do I want to import the customized setters, or do I just want to do singular pages? It's up to you. Okay. I personally say do the whole site, import the widgets. And if you do that, you can delete the stuff you don't want. Don't add all these extra things that you know you're not using. We already have cadence blocks, but don't add this stuff that you don't want this. Don't add solid security. Don't add event tickets. Just say finish and launch. And what's going to happen is that's going to import stuff, and it's going to break a couple things. It's going to break like the checkout stuff. It's just because what's happening, and this is difficult, in order to get the whole like example, it has to change some of the settings of the things that we just did. But now that I've shown you what to do, you'll just go back and fix those things. I'm not going to do it here because it's already 12 minutes after 11. But just to get through this, that's all you need to do to get the look and the feel. And then you can just go in, as I've been showing you, and start changing things up. Let's see what we get. It's probably, by the way, it's probably going to break. We'll find out. Some of the things like, for example, it's going to break the logo that we just did. You know, put the podcast logo in. But it's all good. Let's see if it did break the checkout page. Hold on. Yeah, see, it broke the checkout page because it's like, checkout page? What? I don't have a checkout page. So my suggestion, probably in order, would be do the starter templates before you edit the other stuff. Hopefully, well, even better lesson learned. Better lesson learned is it nuked all the things that I just set up. So do the starter templates first, and then do the WooCommerce and add on your other stuff next. Okay. So say lovey. Even then, let's use the last part because I have a couple minutes. Let's set up the Fluent Community Customizer. So we now have a community that has a header in it. Let's go ahead. I mean, by the way, there's a learning point here because I was offering packages inside of Lunch Kits, still am. The problem is a package is like the whole thing. It's the whole site. And there's no way to like say, just do this, do that, don't do the. You can't. You're screwed. You have to take the whole thing or not. And for some situations like this, that might be a bridge too far. Maybe, you know, do this first and then build your site and then you get the best of it. But if you're thinking you're going to put it over the top, sorry, it's not possible. Let's do the Fluent Community Customizer. I have not set up the Fluent Community, so let's just set the basics of like a portal. Okay, so we're going to set it, we'll call this community. And then I got to show you how to real quickly sell the stuff, but I've done this before, so it goes fast. We click next. We're done. I've got the community up and running. Now, you may want to go ahead at this point and set your permalinks because I've found that it's helpful. If you go over, once that says it's saved, go to settings, permalinks, and click it once. Make sure you're set to post name. And by doing that, you essentially ensure that your link structure is functional. And we can test it by going here and seeing if that shows up. And it does. Okay. Now, I'm not going to turn off the dark mode. I'm not going to set that community up, but I'm going to do the Fluent Community Customizer now so that we can blend it together with the theme that we've got. What I do is I turn off the community logo. I put the main menu to the right and the profile to the left. Then for my header content, I click here. So I show my default header. And then I'll do the feed options if I want. And then I'll do the footer, put the footer in. And that's all I need to do for the basics. Now my community portal should have the theme working directly with it. Cross your fingers. And there's one thing that's a little wacky. The thing that's wacky in this one is that this header was a custom header, and you can see that it's a transparent header. Okay. So we need to switch off that transparent header. That's nothing I can fix. It's just the way it goes. So let's go into the setting of this particular template and turn off the transparent header because that's what's breaking that overlap. So if we go over to customize, no big deal. Just go back to header. This is not the default behavior, but this is the behavior here. Transparent header. Let's disable that because that just does no good. I know this is the wrong color, and I know that you will change the background and all the rest of the stuff. So you can see where you can do it, right? You can change the navigation items, background, the button. You can change all of this, but I don't have enough time to do that. So let's just say publish. I would love to at least do maybe the background, but let me do that. Okay, so if we go to this row, we could just change that background to something dark and moody. Pretty much what it was. Okay, now let's take a look again and see what we got. And again, here's an interesting thing. It's not Portal, it's Community. And now, ta-da, we've got magic. So now it looks really nice. Notice how, see when I move the individual stuff to the left, it lines up nicely. The logo's nice. It's just nice and balanced. It works great. Okay. Community's done. Now, how do I sell stuff? How do I get people on board? Well, here's the secret. If you want to get people on board for free, you could just use a form with Fluent Forms. And I have a full video about this. The form should enable the registration of the user into WordPress. And in doing so, that's a fast and easy and free way. But I prefer, since I've got WooCommerce, let's just make a product, whether it's free or paid, and that will do all the work for us. So we just go to products, add new. Let's call it the membership product. And I'm not going to go in all the details. I've done so many videos of this. Let's do community membership. I can do a custom design if I want, but let's just make it virtual. And the price is $47, but let's do subscription. So let's do simple subscription instead of simple product. $47 every month. And we can put this custom price string, just $47 a month. Cancel anytime. Then I go to launch flows and I say, let's go to the checkout page when somebody buys it. Oh, there's no checkout page. Remember, we just broke it. You would normally type checkout and you normally type thank you, and it would find those pages. Apparently, thank you still survived. So for checkout, it's going to say checkout. And then if you just want the simple page, just do instant clean sales page and then set a product image. In this case, you could, set this as the product image. And now for WP Fusion, we want to give the person the tag, 2 tags, subscribed, and the second tag is can access. Why do I give them 2 tags? Because the first tag is the access tag. The second is the receipt. If over here, I use the remove tags, when they stop paying me, I'm not going to give them back the access tag. If they cancel, I'm just going to give them the receipt. And if they expired, I give them the receipt. That's the same thing as like if you go to Costco, buy something, they say you refunded it, they marker it out. So you still have a receipt that says at one time I did buy that. I just don't have it now. Okay. This will give us what we need in order to sell and give the person the necessary accoutrements in the CRM to get in. And it will automatically register them, take them to the My Account page, which doesn't exist now either because it got broken. And then everything about that transaction will end up where it needs to be, which is those folks will get into the site. They will have the necessary tag. That tag can be used in multiple ways. Number one, it can be used in the Fluent community with WP Fusion to access either the whole site community or specific spaces once you've set them up. It could be used inside of LearnDash to enroll them in courses. It could be used inside the Fluent CRM as a trigger for an automation, etc. Okay. My back says it's time. You guys have been very indulgent today. And Sharon, I thank you for your questions. I want to let you guys know, I appreciate you greatly. I am so supercharged and just incredibly excited about what's going on with like for example, the Fluent Community Manager Customizer, the new component that I was mentioning that allows you to have the media hub, that we've got the cadence focus. We've got all these little tchotchkes that are essentially Spence demonstrating, in addition to the really great outcomes that I've had for a lot of my clients, that you can build for yourself or your clients incredible solutions in minutes. And using this model that I'm getting help from Ann on and some other folks, where Minute Launch has all of the ingredients. Okay. And then from the ingredients, we're going to be having these little grandma's recipe cards. The grandma's recipe cards are going to be simple enough so, like, in 1 or 2 or 4 steps, you could just be out the door. And then with the personal support that I offer you, or the hands-on support, many of you are launching much farther, much faster. But more importantly, you're getting that satisfaction of avoiding the thing that has always plagued you or your clients. You're able to deliver high-end solutions to your clients that you can say 100% guaranteed do what they need, because I'm giving you that assurance. But second of all, in this crazy climate the world is in, 100% ownership and control of the data, of the members, of the conversation, privacy, set the tone, be good human beings to each other. You are no longer the victim of an oligarch or a millionaire person who used to be kind to the community and isn't. You can protect yourself, protect your clients, and own and control this. And it's $97. $97. So if you go to my a la carte, get the monthly combo, it's $97. Now, that's unlimited. You get it as an implementer. You can do anything you want for all your clients and use the same software bundle. If you want, you can just get your clients the hosting only, or do the hosting yourself, because the hosting, like I said, is an incredible bargain and the best in the business. This is $150 worth of value. It's $20. It's less than their retail cost at Rocket. But if you want to host it yourself, go get an agency account at Rocket. Maybe throw me a bone and use my affiliate link. And then you have the same $10 per site costs. But if you want, what's a lot of people's preference is they've been sending their clients to me, either in a conversation with them or individually. And then I'm able to basically do the selling, close the sale. Because what happens is you and I both could do hands-on support. That is what I just showed you here, and all the expertise of knowing how fast to blow through that. That's worth an hour with Spence. Or doing MVP or Pro a week, a couple weeks, or best a VIP, or just say there's a month of having high-end setup of the whole thing for you. Knowing that that's $5,000 doesn't faze people. Why? Yesterday, I had a lovely lady who will likely be a new client for this, because she's at HubSpot, and HubSpot's charging her company like $2,000 a month for that substandard capabilities. She's on a bunch of legacy plugins that she doesn't need or want. She's locked into a box. The idea of getting out of the box guaranteed for, she wanted to pay for the year, I think, but just the VIP plus a year, that's $59.70 out the door guaranteed, with Spence setting out all of your systems or working with you on it. It's a no-brainer. But for you, $97 a month, you get your client in there and you charge $97. That's $194. I pay you $20 of my $97. You're making $117 a month, and your client's on a platform that does all this crazy stuff and more, with the guarantees of privacy and protection and humanity in a world that surely needs it. I want to say I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me and being awesome and showing up here. Sharon, thank you for your wonderful questions. I was long today for a reason, because I felt like it's overdue for people to see. This is what I do if you're in a private call with me, as the basics. Any of you could do this. Any of you. And especially because we have all the tools and everything, like recipe carded out, you're going to be a genius, and you're going to sell your services for this. Because guess what you can do more of? If you become a salesperson of the IKEA/Lego store WordPress as it should be solution, Minute Launch, you can just focus on all the outcomes, because I've got all the outcomes you need, and your client's going to pay for them handsomely. But you look like the genius, and I'm more than thrilled to make you the genius, because I win. They're going to use my software. They're going to subscribe to my community as well. Okay. Thanks, guys. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I know I'm going to. I'll see you on the next video.